everyone, it's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and we're all getting ready right now for today's yin yoga practice. You've got just about 2 minutes before we get started, so pardon me, create some quiet space if you can for yourself. Think about putting on some ambient music, bribe your pets and your children, gather any props you need, and we'll get started at 4:30. Fred. We're gonna start today in bridge pose. We're actually gonna do supported bridge pose. So definitely really encouraging you to bring along some props today. If you don't happen to have a block, but you have a towel or a blanket that you can roll up to provide a little structure for yourself, that will definitely work. Maybe just hanging out in bridge pose will also work. Just doing the best with the body you have, with the props you have, and I'm gonna mess around with the lighting right now. Doing the best with the lighting I have today. Right? Okay. Fred, you're getting on my nerves, bird. Water. It's just one class, Fred. It's just one class. We're gonna make it through. We can make it. Make it happen. Gonna make it happen. Oops. Oh, that jiggled a lot of things. I'm so sorry, y'all. I was just talking with a friend from Miter this morning who commented that we must be YouTube masters at this point. And I laughed because we're definitely not YouTube masters. Okay. Great. It's 4:31. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. If you have a prop, you're gonna break that out right here to begin with as we lay down on our backs, starting off in bridge pose. If you don't have a prop, you can always just hang out right here on your back. I'm not gonna ask you to lift yourself up for the next couple of minutes. But if you do have a prop, you're gonna place that right at your lower back so that your glutes can gently hang off of the end of your prop. You're just supported in that mid to low back. Start to come into your breath right here, and you can keep your feet ground on the floor. You can keep your arms relaxed by your side for a little bit of support. If you want to even enhance the stretch, oops, found a timer with my feet. If you want to increase the stretch, already bring a little bit more of a stretch into those hip flexors. You can actually extend those legs out. We're going to hang out here for 3 minutes. So I want you to find some place where you can enjoy some stillness. Having these legs straight is really going to increase the pressure on your lower back pretty quickly. Just gonna adjust the light in here real fast, like one more time. While y'all are just breathing. So really just coming into your nice, relaxed, released breath. That's gonna be so dark. We're gonna come back to this option. Gonna make it happen. I believe within my soul. I did my best. Okay. That's a little bit better, right? Maybe. It's yin. You can have your eyes closed this entire practice. So let's just focus on that. All right, so with this prop at your lower back, breathing. Remember, yin is a slow, relaxing yoga practice where we're focusing on the restorative form of yoga. This is such a great practice if mindfulness is something that you're working on. Because so frequently in life, when we confront tense moments, we react so quickly. Sometimes we might even avoid those tense things, the difficult things in our life. But here in yin, we intentionally bring ourselves to the edge. We find a point that is uncomfortable to begin with. That's something, maybe it's not uncomfortable, maybe it's just very noticeable. And you stay there. And you just breathe through it. And then it's done and you move on. All right, so 1 minute left right here. If you'd kept your knees bent, but you want to try something a little bit more challenging here towards the end, extend those legs, coming into platoon. Just keep breathing. You've got about 3 to 4 more breaths. And you're working to make each breath as long, as slow, as deep as possible. Maybe even practicing some ujjayi breathing, a slight constriction of your throat with your tongue pressed to the roof of your mouth. All right, next up we have wind removing pose. So you have an option to actually keep this prop under your back if it feels good. Maybe. You can remove it. I'm going to keep it there. A little extra pressure. Go ahead and draw your right leg in towards your chest and extend that left leg out. It's not going to be as much pressure on your lower back with that left leg extended while you have your right leg in. So just give it a whirl. We've got about 1 minute right here. So work to relax your shoulders back towards the mat, keeping the back of your head flat on the mat. Remember, if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. So finding one spot to relax your focus, or keeping your eyes closed. Go ahead, take one more deep inhale. And on your exhale, slowly, gently bring that right leg back down. Go ahead, bring your left leg in, and you can extend that right leg out. Once again, work to bring the back of those shoulders down towards the mat. Just breathing here into the stretch. Starting off with just a couple postures down on the floor on our back. Take 2 more breaths right here. Keep finding relaxation in your shoulders. Do your best not to round them up towards your knees, and as you're ready, go ahead, draw that right knee in as well for a little bit of both knees in towards your chest. If you have a prop under your back, you might find that you're really lifting those glutes and hips off of the floor. That's okay. You can still apply a little bit of pressure of your lower back into your prop. Just work to bring those knees in towards your chest. Find what feels good for you, relaxing those shoulders away from your ears. Just a couple more breaths right here. might want to bring down one foot at a time, slowly, gently. Reground your lower back with your prop if it came off. Release your feet back down to the floor. Lift your hips up. Remove your prop and slowly, gently release yourself down. Go ahead, roll over onto your side, whichever side you want to. Next up, we have cat's tail. We're going to do it a little bit differently today. Let's start off with our head propped up. We're going to take our top leg forward and just go ahead, bend that lower leg on the floor. We're not even going to reach for it today. We're going to focus on the stretch that we can create that feels good through this top leg. And then I want you to slowly, gently release that opposite shoulder to the floor. Find what feels good with this upper arm. To get a bigger stretch, extend it out to the side in line with your shoulder. To get a more passive stretch, you can keep it relaxed down by the side or reaching in the direction of your opposite foot. We're going to spend 3 minutes from right now, right here. So start that total body scan and just notice where you feel the stretch. Getting a big twist in our spine. Big stretch in those abdominals. And depending on how high you have this upper leg, how straight this upper leg is as well. Oh my gosh, a big stretch into that glute, into your hamstring, maybe even feeling it deep in your calf. And everyone's body is different. So where you feel the stretch today, you might do this again tomorrow and feel it someplace totally different. But once again, start that scan from the top of your head and ask yourself, what can you relax? How can you allow the mat to support you as opposed to you using your muscles to keep yourself lifted in this stretch? Keep that breath nice and slow and still. Notice if you've started to come into a more shallow breath, which happens when a stretch is intense. Work that inhale all the way down to the very bottom of your diaphragm. Just a couple more breaths right here. Make them the longest, slowest, deepest breaths that you've enjoyed so far today. See if you can encourage your body to relax a little bit more since you know it's the end. Great work. Go ahead, bring that top leg back in. And then close your arms. We're going to roll over onto our bellies. Notice whichever arm you have on top. That's the one we're going to stretch first. As we come into a big shoulder stretch. So stretch that arm out to the side. Bring your opposite hand palm close in towards your chest. And then roll over onto your side body. Relax your head down on the floor. You can stay pretty passive here in this shoulder stretch. You can bend your knees. You can even gently clamshell your feet, or maybe even bringing that top leg forward as you would for a supported lunge. Because I'm going to give you the option for a little chest opener. Hold on. Making magic happen over here, you guys. Ah, great. A little chest opener by inhaling up that top arm towards the ceiling, bending at the elbow, placing your fingertips on your glutes, and then maybe tucking your shirt in a little bit before you trace your fingers up your back to help you open up that chest, opening up your heart. 2 minutes right here. Notice if you're creating any extra tension in your head, in your shoulders. If you can relax your belly, your glutes. Even taking the tension out of your fingers and your toes. Let the only thing that moves right now be the rise and fall of your chest and your belly from your big breath. Take your time, slowly, gently release. So inhaling that top arm back up towards the ceiling, find that big stretch. Exhale, release it down right underneath of your shoulder. Roll over onto your belly. Take your time. We're going to actually then roll onto our backs for just a minute. Go ahead, bend your knees. Relax your arms wherever feels good. Just going to cross my hands over my chest, encouraging a little bit of a little stretch through that back still. In the opposite direction. All right, now let's roll over onto the opposite side. We're going to do the same 2 stretches. So starting off with that cat's tail. Remember, today we're extending the top leg out as far and as high in front of you as you can. You can start with your, big side stretch. You can start with your head propped on your hand if it's helpful, or immediately bring your head down in line with your spine, stretching it on top of your arm. Keeping that lower leg bent, take your time, easing yourself down, working towards bringing the opposite shoulder to the floor. Wouldn't you know, we got just about 3 minutes right here. So once again, come into that stillness. Do that total body scan from head to toe. Ask yourself what you can or need to relax to just be here in this moment. Maybe you can come a little bit deeper. Maybe it's a little bit more of a shallow stretch on this opposite side. Remember, you're working to creating a noticeable stretch. And everyone's body is different, so you might feel this differently for every person. Just something that you're aware of. Might feel amazing. Might feel very intense. So just use your breath to continue to inhale and be here right now to notice this stretch, this moment, and to exhale to work to create some extra space there. So find some comfort within this tension. Halfway. Take your time, slowly, gently, bring that top leg in. Go ahead, bring that top arm together with the bottom and gently roll over onto your belly. Oh, extend your arm out to the side. Use your hand for some support as you roll over into your big shoulder stretch. Wiggle forward a little bit. Beautiful. Here we are in the shoulder stretch. Bringing a little bit of an extra chest opener here by inhaling that top arm up towards the ceiling, bending at the elbow, bringing your back of your fingers to your glutes and then tracing up your back as much as feels good for you. Point that elbow towards the back of the room. Continue to gently find that roll into your side body towards the glutes to find the stretch in your shoulder that feels right. We've got just over 2 minutes left right here. Focusing in on your breath, focusing in on the relaxation that you can bring and the stretch you can bring at the same time. Just being present in the moment in your body today. using your breath to help. Last couple breaths right here. Slower, deeper, longer. If you bent that back top arm behind you, inhale it up towards the ceiling. Exhale it back down right by your chest. Give yourself some support as you roll over onto your belly. Bring that outstretched arm in. Roll over onto your back. One more time, just resting with your knees bent. Whatever feels good for your arms. Maybe a little goalpost stretch. Oh, that feels so good. Relaxing your shoulders from your ears. Just melt into the floor. You can always tent your legs together. All right, slowly, gently pick a side to roll to, and then we're going to sit ourselves up. Just enough to come into tabletop. Yay, coming into tabletop. I'm going to take a modesty moment here and tuck my tank top into my yoga pants like a real winner. Like a real winner, y'all. Okay, next up is melting heart's pose. So this is going to be one of the longer postures that we're doing for today. Depending on how open your chest and upper back are, you might want to use a prop. If you're very, very tight, please use a prop and bring that prop right underneath of your chest. You can work to extend your arms out nice and wide. Is going to be a little bit easier on those shoulders than having those hands in narrow. If it's still hard, think about bringing those hips a little bit closer towards your heels. If that's easy for you, if you don't want to put a prop underneath of your chest, but you're not ready to bring your head all the way down towards the floor, we're going to use one of our arms folded in. One arm folded in and extend the opposite hand out as you sink your chest down towards the floor. We'll spend 2 minutes right here, then we'll do 2 minutes with the opposite arm extended, and then we'll try with both hands extended. If that doesn't work for you with both hands extended, you can always come into child's pose or a variation, just sinking those hips closer towards your heels. But ideally, you're working to get your hips stacked on top of your knees and then bringing that chest forward towards the ground. Remember, hand out towards the side can make this a little bit easier. Keep that chest squared down towards the floor. Try not to twist towards the opposite side. You got 1 more minute right here. Oh, that works. I know this is a really challenging posture to find that stillness in, but that's why that block is also an option. If you still need to bring a block or a towel or a pillow under your chest to be a little bit more supported in this big stretch into your back, shoulders, big upper body, chest, puppy pose or melting heart pose right here. Keep that breath slow. Think about 3 more slow breaths. And then go ahead, switch those arms, take your time, bring one arm in, extend the opposite hand out. Remember, you can always bring your hips a little bit closer towards your heels to make this posture a little bit easier on yourself. Just under 2 minutes right here. Take the tension out of your toes, out of your ankles. Applying some pressure with the knees into the floor. This is a big stretch and separation of those glutes to the wall behind you. Really focusing on the big stretch that's happening in your mid and upper back. And also shoulder with that outstretched arm. More than halfway on this side. Just keep doing that scan. Notice if you're bringing tension back into your toes, into your glutes, into your mind, tension into your breath. Stay present, stay focused, stay still. Three more breaths, and then the option to extend both hands forward, extending your chin forward as well. All right, let's come on into that deeper melting heart posture. So extending both hands forward, sinking that chest down towards the floor. A little bit more, stretching that chin out in front of you. If you need to, you can always sink your hips a little closer towards your heels. If this feels very uncomfortable, just come into child's pose. We're going to meet you there in 1 minute. Relax those toes. All right, gently bring your hips closer towards your heels. Walk your fingertips one at a time all the way back. We're going to extend our fingertips close towards our heels, coming into child's pose for the next 2 minutes. Find some rounding in that upper back, allowing those shoulders to melt a little closer towards the floor. Separation of those shoulder blades. And this time send your breath to the ribs on your back. Feel the back body expand on your inhale and contract on your exhale. slowly, gently bring those hands, palms back underneath of your shoulders. Go ahead, press yourself up, and then shift your hips over. Let's shift our hips over to the right. Keeping our legs in 90-degree angles, we're going to take that right leg forward and that left leg back gently as we come into deer pose. You might need to or want to adjust your glutes. You can come as deep into deer pose as you want to if it feels better for you. Tucked in, tanked up. You can always fold this back leg in a little bit more. I find that folding the back leg in decreases a little bit of the stretch on the quad and right into the hip. For me, it's a lot easier to bring that back leg in, feeling it a little bit more towards the inner thigh. But you need to find what works for you. If that's still really uncomfortable, you can always shift gently towards the side. But if you're not quite feeling it in this back leg and your left leg at all, lift yourself up. Maybe even lean a little bit over towards the left. And just hang out right here in deer pose. Oof. Come into that stillness. Find that one spot to relax your eyes, whatever you're looking at. That's your thing for the next 3 minutes. I'm going to put my thing a little further away so I can actually see it. Just give that in more. Okay, 3 minutes right now. If you can, finding some space of the shoulders away from your ears, coming back into that relaxed breath, maybe even back into some ujjayi breathing, the slight constriction of your throat, but keeping that breath slow and intentional, quiet. Most noticeable, you should feel the stretch throughout your left hip flexor, whichever leg this is that you have towards the back. Make sure you're still creating a noticeable stretch. We just have to hit the other side. We've got one more posture after this before we'll lay down in Savasana. So stay present, stay focused. Keep this big, deep stretch going. Remember that you're worth it. This is what you came for. More than halfway there. I've really been preaching the benefits of ambient music. Keep an eye out for... There's a bug on me. I should have stayed still. I should have just kept breathing through that bug on me. I'm sorry. It's practice. It's practice. Maybe if I had some ambient music playing. As I was saying, this Friday, keep an eye out for the mental health post. It's going to be all about ambient music, about music in general, music and mental health, how great of a tool it is for just relaxing, for letting go. Notice if you're doing any extra stretches with your neck, with your chest, with your back. You've got 3 breaths left right here. Beautiful. Go ahead, bring those hands behind you. Take your time. We're gently going to release these knees from the floor. Bring your glutes back to the floor. You can windshield wipe your legs a couple of times in each direction. And then when you're ready, we're going to drop them over to the opposite side. Ooh. So come back into that 90-90 if that feels good for you. Start to work to just exhale into this right glute this time. If you feel like your bum is super far from the floor, you can always use a prop. Use a pillow, use a towel, use a t-shirt, even use your rolled up strap just to provide you a little bit of support. Remember, you also do have that option of folding that lower leg in. All right, let's come on into our stillness. We've got a little over 2 minutes left right here. So start your scan, total body from the top of your head. Through your neck and shoulders, relaxing your chest and abdomen, relaxing your hands, palms. So maybe coming into a mudra if that helps you relax, if that helps you to take the fidgeting out of your hands. Fidgeting is so normal. It's such a normal reaction when you are feeling tense, when something is challenging, especially in yoga, especially as a beginner in yoga. When you're asked to do something and it just sounds hard or it becomes difficult, it's easy to make excuses for yourself to come out of the posture. Oh, I'm thirsty. Maybe you fall out on purpose. Oops, I fell. But the real question is, do you come back into the asana, into the posture? Or do you allow yourself to use that distraction to just avoid it? Because if we just avoid things, they don't get better. Things don't improve if we just avoid them. And it doesn't mean that you have to take it all on in one day. We're just baby stepping our way to being the best version of ourselves that we can be. So maybe you stay in that uncomfortable asana for one more breath, or even half a breath before you reach for your water or you come out and fidget. Because once you find one thing to fidget or move or distract yourself with, you like open the floodgates to find many other things that can be distracting. Something to really think about as we are finishing up our practice right here. All right, we got one more posture before final Savasana. So go ahead, bring your hands behind you. Once again, windshield wipe those legs. And then kick them out in front of you. Taking a moment in staff pose with your hands by your hips. I've already started. You might even want to start walking those glutes behind you to find a little bit of a forward hinge, especially if you have any pain in your lower back. Finding this hinge at your hips and a pull in with your belly is going to feel so much better than taking a rounding of your back and reaching towards those toes. So if you're having trouble finding that, you can always inhale up. Bring your hands in line with your shoulders. One more inhale to hinge forward, and then exhale, relax your hands down. If this is a little too much on the back of your legs, you can always take a bend in your knees, but if it feels good, once you've found that big forward hinge, then you can begin to relax into the stretch. But the more that you pull that belly tight and hinge forward, the better that your lower back is going to feel, especially supported on those legs. We'll spend one more minute right here in caterpillar. Your option for how much of the lower legs you want involved. If you want, you can flex your toes back towards your face and bring a little stretch into your calves here for the last 3 breaths, or you can just allow those toes to fall forward. Okay, I said 3 breaths. So take your time. Let's gently lift ourselves up. And then scoot your glutes forward. We're going to lower ourselves down 1 vertebrae at a time. Option to engage those abs just a little bit, lifting those hands off the floor. As we come down into our final Savasana, if you want, you can keep these knees bent in your final Savasana, even tenting them together. Just do whatever feels good for you, for your body. If that lower back hurts, keeping those knees bent is going to feel so much better by really supporting that lower back, gluing it more towards the mat than you will be able to with your legs extended. All right, so as promised, I'm going to leave you here in this final Savasana. Sadly, that's all the time that we have with each other today. If you have 2 to 5 minutes where you can continue to stay here and just breathe and relax, stay focused, stay still. Savasana is one of the best times to work on that focus and stillness, because you might want to jump up as soon as possible, but ask yourself, if you're a fidgeter, can you take 3 breaths without moving? And every time you move, start those 3 breaths over again. Stay on your mat until you're not even thinking about it anymore. And we'll go ahead and close our practice from down here in Savasana. I'm so thankful for everyone who has come to all of our amazing classes this year. I personally find this one to be my absolute favorite of the week. I love Yin Yoga. I'm so happy to be able to specifically share it with you guys once per week. I hope that you have enjoyed coming. I can't wait to continue practicing together in the new year. In the meantime, if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out. Anything that you're working on, mindfulness, gratitude, flexibility, strength, reach out. Join our Rock Your Resolution Challenge. Till I see you again, continue to think good thoughts. Speak good words, eat good foods, do good deeds, and nourish yourself from the inside and out. Fill your amazing cup so you can spill your energy out to those who matter most to you. And those who don't, just let them go. I can't wait to see you all again soon. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.